Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. on the West Coast, high noon in the Eastern time zone. It is, oh, and the vacuums are working hard in the background. Thank you very much. Someone's cleaning their office at the same time. That's multitasking. It is May 13th. I had to look that up because I had no idea what time it is, what day it is. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. I've been called a mother before. I'm sure each of you have been called a mother at one time. Um, Uh, who do we got? Virgil, Mike, Mark, Frank, Todd, Tim, and Alan. Boy, it feels like a year and a half since we've had one of these calls. It really hasn't been a year and a half, but it feels like it. Lots to cover, lots to cover. But why don't we just start with a little check-in from each of you? Go around the horn. Give us an update on the last couple of weeks. Any highlights, lowlights, special lights, extra lights, solar charge lights, anything that's been going on in your life? Who wants to start? Turn on your camera. Talk to us. Don't all rush in at once. I'll let you know when it's a hypothetical question. There he is.
All right, since nobody else will go, I'll start.
Purple and gray, Mr. Purple and Gray himself.
That's right. See, I don't know if it comes out. It looks backwards to me, but
Property of Emaw, Kansas. It looks
yeah,
forward
emo means every man a wildcat. Pretty cool stuff. We swept KU in baseball and are in first place in the Big 12 by 2 games. Good stuff.
Man, you need a life, man. Holy cow.
I know.
We got to get you some more regionals or more area developers.
we need some more. That's right. Biggest event, obviously, for me was Discovery Day last week. Also, I made a couple of great connections. One of them, an old connection that is now a new connection and is pretty excited about back nine. I think you remember Chuck Williams
Oh, yeah.
in St. Louis.
Yeah, yeah.
So Mike got me in touch with Chuck. We had a great long conversation, and I think he is going to be, at the very least, he will be a raving fan in St. Louis for us.
Good.
So things are starting to move in that direction quite a bit. So
Thank you for your kind words on the
yeah,
Discovery Day summary. I just had a glance to look at it over the weekend and reread it this morning.
yeah, it was
Um,
off the charts. Both the candidates were overwhelmed, and so was I. I said, "Really? I do all of that? Uh-oh."
yeah,
Fill me
exactly.
in here. Let me know what's going
Exactly.
on.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and Mark had the pleasure of finding out exactly what his job description was live. Really? I got to do all
I do
that?
that? Wow.
I thought I was just collecting 5% to sit on my butt. Dang.
Right.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you like the format. We've got some ideas that have come from that, but fill us in terms of the feedback, the golf, because Alan and I, we haven't talked to you since the event. We did the 4 hours in the morning, then you guys broke and went for golf. Fill us in, all of us in on the golf experience.
Oh, the golf experience was absolutely outstanding. One of the guys was a pretty good golfer. The other guy wasn't, and we had a lot of fun with that. And we invoked the double par rule.
Lovely.
Yeah, yeah, and did some on course instruction at the same time. But it kind of figured out that the old adage that the muscle guys have a really hard time with the game is absolutely true.
Love it. Love it. And in
But
terms of your ability to evaluate the prospects on their core values and see if you want them, how would you rate that part of the experience?
on the golf course, I would give it a 10.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. Great.
The
Great.
great
Great.
the
So,
great thing about it was the guy who didn't play well had to be frustrated because um, the other guy and me weren't playing badly, but much better than he was. He didn't lose his patience. He had a great sense of humor. He was more than happy to try out things to kind of make his at least hit the golf ball a little bit better, and that was fun. So that was impressive. Guys who play like that sometimes get extraordinarily frustrated
sure.
and show it openly, and he did not at all. So I'd give it a 10. It's a powerful tool. I knew it was,
Right.
but I guess in this context, just to give it a test, it was absolutely, as the British say, brilliant.
Good. Good,
Yeah.
good, good. And we didn't get a chance to talk about the follow-up strategy, but just so everyone else knows, at the end of the Discovery Day, we asked the candidate when they made a decision as to whether or not to go to the next step, to let us know. And then we would get them the documents and details, because obviously the FDDs aren't done yet. Close on our end, but not done yet. And then applications and agreements and stuff like that. So have any of them filled you in? Have you talked to them? Fill us in.
Yes. One has called me back. Can we use first names
Yeah, absolutely.
on the call? Yeah. Dustin called me back. He is excited. He's got some questions. In fact, you and I need to get together with him, because some of those questions are ones that you can answer and I can learn from when you answer them, which is a really good thing. He's ready to go as a region or as an AD.
Excellent.
It's a financial issue. He's absolutely in as a chapter host in Des Moines. His big thing is, man, I want to get in this because I don't want to miss out, because I know it's going places, and I want to be part. I want to be part of it.
Good. And now, has he actually said he's made a decision? Yes. Now let's talk about how.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, he hasn't clearly said yes, but it's all there.
Okay. Good. And the other guy?
I haven't heard a word from him except, hey, thanks for the great round of golf. He was, if you remember, he was a lot more contemplative.
Mm-hmm.
Asked some deeper questions, took a ton of notes, and I did send him a follow-up email and gave him a copy of How to Earn Twice as Much with Half the Stress.
Okay.
And have not heard back from him as of yet.
Okay. And that's where you should leave it, right? Just
yes.
Leave it with him and let him process through. He's very much more kinesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a kinesthetic type person, it'll drive you crazy, because you're like, make a decision. But the reality is that's what the person needs, right? And they know how to reach you.
That's the way he was. That's the way he was throughout the entire process. So it's not
totally.
It's not a surprise at all.
Yeah, and in fact, I would be surprised if it hadn't been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right, in this situation. So fantastic, good stuff. So we'll set up after this call. We'll get some times for you, and we'll set up a follow-up call with Dustin and go to the next step.
Absolutely. I have an email to forward to you also.
Great.
From Dustin.
Fantastic. For the rest of you, any questions for Mark or Alan or I on the Discovery Day process? I see we've got Todd's now joined us. Good to see you. And Rick's joined us. Any questions from anyone on the Discovery Day process for Mark or I or Alan? And then we've got a suggestion, a thought. There we go. Good morning, sir.
Hi. I'm anticipating I'll have more host facilitators go through the process than host partners. And so I've been, talking to Mark, what's going to be the kind of the light version of Discovery Day for host facilitators, and how do we want to, build that? Again, anticipating that I'll need that sooner than I may need to send people to Mark's Discovery Day.
Yeah, and that's actually part of the idea, the suggestion that Alan and I have that we're going to bring up in a moment. So park it for about a couple minutes here, and we'll see if there's any other feedback on the Discovery Day process, and then we'll tackle it directly.
Sounds good. Just for some corroboration, one of my Stage 2 candidates is looking at another franchise opportunity as well, and they use the Discovery Day technique also. So she's almost ready to go through that Discovery Day for that other franchise business. So using that language is familiar to her, and I suspect maybe to other franchise businesses as well.
It's about, well, last time I saw any data, it was like 50-60% of them use Discovery Days in one form or another. Some of them are just glorified sales opportunities where they just push, and some are true Discovery Days. But the languaging is used a lot. Yeah, it's pretty typical in that part of the process.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Cool. Anyone else? Any thoughts, comments, questions? Anyone want to congratulate Mark on his first Discovery Day? I mean, he's out there taking the arrows on you for you guys. Tim.
There we go. That works. Congrats, Mark. Good job. That's great. Thanks for taking the arrows for us. Tom, what's the plan for future Discovery Days? Is it going to be video recordings of what you guys did, or live? What's the plan?
Well, that actually transitions into what we wanted to talk about on Discovery Day. Might as well jump right into it, Tim. And that is, Alan and I have discussed it, and we think, for a combination of reasons, in the short term, we should be sticking with live, where someone is a chapter host, host partner, or area development candidates. Um, Knowing full well that if we stick to that, that it's going to add a lot to our workload, but it's real quality stuff that it adds to our workload. We do think there is an opportunity to do a recorded format for host facilitators that any area developer or regional could facilitate on their own. It's, in other words, if someone goes through stage 1 and 2 and 3 and they're just not interested in equity no matter what, and we've already explained to them that we can help them raise equity if they want, and they're still not interested in equity, they're either beaten down so much in other projects previously, which happens, right? Or they're scared, or they're really not entrepreneurs. And in all three cases, they're probably not the best person to help get into the entrepreneurial role, because if they're super scared, you're going to be 80% psychologist and 20% coach. And that's not a fun place to hang out in, unless you're really trained in that and gifted in that area. So what we're thinking is we take the recordings and create an environment for host facilitators, facilitator hosts, I guess we call it, where people can go through that process and listen in and go through it, and then create a separate environment for the live discovery days and continue doing those live, at least until each regional has got deals done and area developers in place using this format. Alan, do you want to add to that? Because I know it's a big extra commitment on our side, but this is an important
Yeah,
thing for you too.
just to reinforce what you said, I think having us live and getting to interact with us live is going to be really important in the early stages. I mean, always, but more so in the early stages. So we're prepared to do that. Timing wise, we've discussed some possibilities. We might do it once a month. We might do it twice a month, depending on the number of candidates. But it won't be every week, because there's just no need for that every week, in terms of discovery days. And then the what we did talk about was for host facilitators for discovery days. That would be a once a month deal. And so we would structure that and set that up, and
Yeah, until we have it all recorded and ready to go, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking, guys. Thoughts, comments on that? Turn your camera on, share your thoughts.
I like the idea of you guys sticking with it live, at least in the short term, because that was really powerful for both Dustin and Tom. Doing the recorded versions for the host facilitators, since they don't have any skin in the game, so to speak, I think it would be virtually impossible to get them to travel for a discovery day. So I really like the idea of having the recorded version available for those. So
Well,
the ADs could do that.
yeah, and what we thought, Mark, on that was, in the short term, we can do it once a month live as a go-to-meeting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we just,
Mm-hmm.
they have to have a camera, all right? Because you got to see them face, you got to see their reactions to the big question, you got to, stuff like that. But it could definitely be done remote, so that no travel costs were involved. The regional could be on the call, the area developer could be on the call then, without a big extra burden on the system. And then the round of business golf could obviously be done at the appropriate person's convenience, because a host facilitator, it's going to be, if it's Rick's candidate, it's going to be Rick who wants to do the round of business golf,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Agreed.
You
Yes.
can do it, but it's not really relevant. In your case, if it's an area developer's candidate, they're going to want to do the round of business golf.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Anyone else? Thanks, Mark. Okay, that was update from Mark that got us into a couple other things. Let's continue around the horn. Who wants to go next with an update the last couple of weeks? Who wants to go next with an update on the last couple of weeks? Turn your camera on and share away. Mr. Tim.
All right, I'll go next. Last couple of weeks, we've got our third committed member in our group.
Awesome.
We've been running on two, and we've got a third one. So that's
50% growth? Are you telling me you had 50% growth in the last 2 weeks?
You should totally leave town more often. My group grows 50% every time. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I actually have two other people that sound like they're going to commit before the end of the month. So we'll see. So I don't know if I can get another 50% in before the end of the month, but we're going to shoot
Oh,
for it.
every 2 weeks, baby. That's the new standard. You've set the record. Now
Excellent.
let's
All right.
maintain.
Well,
Let's maintain at least
yeah.
for a month or two.
Yeah, I think it's statistically insignificant at this point. But
hey, every 150, $300 helps, man.
it totally does.
Right.
And let's see what else is happening. We've family-wise, we've actually had some pretty challenging couple of weeks. I don't want to go into all the details, but stuff with our kids have been a little more challenging than they have been in recent past. So that's certainly taken a little more time and effort than what we wanted it to. But things are smoothing out there a little bit more, so that's good. Hopefully it'll be more solid and less of a distraction here going forward. So
good. Thanks, man. Appreciate the update. And I'm glad things are stabilizing on that home front. Mr. Todd says paused. Oh, here we go. Let's see.
I figured I wouldn't distract from Tim's talking there since we were turning our cameras on about the same time.
I only get a gray screen from you right now. Does anyone else see Todd?
I just see gray as well.
Turned it off and on.
So how's 40 treating you, Todd?
I say that's Todd's new 40th
Again,
birthday up there. There we go.
Yeah, it's a small sample size. I'm not sure it's that much time is significantly or statistically significant, as you say.
There he is.
Today it's not treating me all that well, so I'll probably be a little quieter than usual on the call. I'm feeling a little under the weather today.
Stop it. Stop your whining right now. You're 40.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of life.
But I did celebrate my 40th birthday last week with the guys that were on the call, and that was fun. We got to have a little bit of fun with that. But I've been working on my launch preparations and highlights and lowlights you mentioned. Alan's aware of it, but some of the other guys aren't. I went through some struggles, and I'm continuing to go through those with getting my golf course to send out the promotional materials through the email system. Apparently, our contract says send promotional emails, and they did send the 3 gift emails and got some negative feedback from that. That negative feedback being mainly, did you guys sell your list? This isn't the kind of stuff we're used to seeing from you. We didn't sign up for your email club to get this kind of information, that sort of thing. And Alan and I had a conference call, the general manager and a couple other people on the team, and talked it over. And it's kind of ironic that it's my golf course, and I'm receiving resistance on getting help on the promotional side. So we can talk more about that, or answer questions and so forth. The bottom line is I came up with an email to send out that announces the partnership between Bunker Hill and Back Nine, and I think Alan's in agreement that we probably should start that process with something like that with all of our golf course partners, some type of an announcement of the partnership, and then proceed with emails after that. And I've got an agreement that Bunker Hill will send that email out tomorrow morning with the promotional material. And then I don't have full agreement, but I think they may send the second and third promo emails in combination with other information that they're going to send out to their database involving other events, kind of as a, here's what we're doing, and back nine promo stuff will be one of those things. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've had going on. Otherwise, doing all the other promo stuff. Had a few people sign up. Haven't checked it today to see what my numbers are there. Not huge yet, but I do have some people signed up for the launch event. And this is a big week for doing phone calls, which I think produced a lot of results for others that did this, the personal phone calls. So that's the main stuff going on with me.
And what are we at in terms of registrations, Todd? I've seen a few trickling in, but I haven't had a chance to look at the numbers. Do you know what you're at in terms of totals?
I don't.
Okay, maybe Tim, you can check in the background and get us an update from
Yep, I'll check.
Infusionsoft just to see what we're at. And
just from tallies in my head and what's come to me directly, I think I'm around 5 or 6.
Okay. And in terms of the executives and the charity, where are we at with them getting involved?
Varying degrees of involvement. We lost our charity person, the person that was going to sit on our board a while back, and I just got an email at the end of last week that said the gal that's the executive director had a new person, and I didn't get a chance to contact them yet, so that's going to happen this week, and hopefully they will be excited about being involved. Another person that is from that same person's office sent me a LinkedIn message saying, hey, this back nine thing looks interesting, I want to talk about it. So that's some good news.
But no marketing from them, right? Obviously, at this point.
From the charity?
Yeah.
They sent the 3 email, but I believe they only sent 1 email. From what I could see, I signed up for their email club, but I haven't received anything from them, so I don't think my sign up worked. And I asked my wife, because she's been on their list, and I know she received 1 gift email, but I don't believe they've sent out anything else yet.
Okay. So when you guys get these samples that come through, make sure you forward over so we can see how it's being formatted. Is it incorporated standalone? Is it part of a newsletter? So we can start looking at some of the data tracking numbers on that side. Obviously,
Okay.
if there's things we can do to help drive the numbers over the next little while, reach out to any of us.
Yeah, well, Mike has offered, I'm probably going to have a fairly significant list of people to phone call, and he's offered to help make those phone calls, which will certainly be helpful. So we will continue to move forward, and we can make it happen.
Awesome. And Mike, if you could let me know, I can also ping my Cleveland list, because now it's a couple hundred people, and invite them. No harm at all in doing that, direct invites, and see if we can drive a few extra bodies as well.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Todd. Who wants to go next? Update, last couple weeks. All right, let's go through the voluntold list then. Looking at the list here. Frank, you're up next. Mr. Bollinger.
Well, hopefully this thing, can you hear me okay without it fading out and fading in?
Can hear you now, sir.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I want to make sure. Well, it's been a interesting couple of weeks. Finally got someone to sign up for a stage 1 call. And that will be tomorrow.
Good stuff.
And met with the golf course, see if they could figure out a way that if they had any ideas of getting folks to come in through their operation. And they told me that a lot of those people do not participate in things at the golf course. Don't ask me why. They just don't. So trying a couple other ideas to just see if it'll work.
And help me out, Frank. Trying ideas for what? What are you driving traffic for?
Trying to figure out how to get people to become involved in this just a little bit. We've invited
Sorry,
a number of them.
Narrow it down, Frank. Are we looking for prospective executives, chapter hosts, members? I'm not sure, so help me out.
Members right now.
Okay.
To join our our chapter. We do not have any that have stepped up to the plump yet, but hopefully we will.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you for the update, sir. Mark Hunter, Mark and John Ashton. I see you've got no camera attached, but if you can unmute and just give us an audio update.
Okay.
Hey, Mark.
Can you hear me?
Loud and
Hi.
clear.
How is everyone? John unfortunately could not be on the call. He had to take his wife to the hospital just
Uh-oh.
before the call. She had a reaction to some new meds she was taking, so hopefully they'll get that straightened out.
Yeah.
I will hopefully have 2, possibly 3 people on a stage 1 call tomorrow. Um, and I wanted to ask also, I would very much like to have that email to get to our golf course as well. I'm sure we'll have access to that, but I wondered if that's already available or if that will be
Which email, Mark?
forthcoming.
Sorry, help so.
To announce that we are partnering with them before we send other emails.
Oh, yeah, the one that Alan and Todd
And
worked on.
Todd was just speaking up. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's get that out to the other guys. Hey, Alan?
I would very much like to have that. Yes. Great idea.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And have you guys had a chance post Derby to sit down with the prospects in the workshop?
Yes. Well, it looks like we're going to have another meeting on May 28th, and we have contacted everyone from the workshop. Looks like we will have 1 member signing up.
1 member so far. Okay, good. And you're going to invite all the
Yes.
possibles to that meeting on the 28th?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Cool. And for agenda and format, have you talked to Alan and Tim to coordinate the
I have
pre-launch
not.
chapter agenda?
I have not. I don't know. Is this John? I don't know if John. So no, I have
Okay,
not.
so definitely reach out to them because there was a format that Jeff used in Denver pre-launch, and Tim used a different format, and Alan and Tim have been coordinating that. So reach out to them to get some help on the format. I would definitely suggest.
Absolutely, will do.
Thanks, Mark. I've been seeing lots of opt-ins on your marketing initiative, so good work with you and John.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mike Mucci, why don't you give us an update on the new format of following up and holding people accountable, and the calls, and the regionals holding their guys accountable? And...
Sure, Tom, be glad to. I'll start with Mark and John. Last week we were able to connect John with Darlene Gilmore in Austin, and we got that relationship working really well now, where Darlene and John are working on a daily basis. That's regional to chapter host.
Excellent.
So that was the first one we accomplished there. Barb Boyd, Sean Carson, Virgil have all been communicating with me on their scheduled times, and we're moving along pretty well in all 3 of those areas. So that's
I'm not seeing updates. I'm not seeing updates, daily updates from Barb and Sean. I'm seeing some from Virtual, but not every day. Are they doing daily update emails with you?
Barb is participating twice a week, and she's getting started this week.
Okay.
Tom, Sean, I've got to keep after him. He has not, as of yet, participated regarding putting in his daily report, but I'm scheduled to talk with him today at 3 o'clock, and I will remind him again. So that's where we are with Sean. Trying to think.
Regionals.
Regionals. Jeffrey reports this morning that he'll be back upright and working on a daily basis with me by the end of the week. I do phone calls with him daily. John Ashton has been very good with his twice a week participation. Same with Frank. Frank's been doing well. Todd has been working with me on a daily basis. Mark Stevens, Uh, I don't know
He's in
about
trouble.
Mark. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. He's giving me a lot of orders. That's all I can say. No, he's doing well. He's doing well. And Tim and I communicate a couple times a week, and he's trying to find the best way to communicate with me on the form a couple times a week. So that's where we are.
Okay, appreciate the update
Sure.
on that front, and we had a good chat this morning and a bunch of other stuff. We'll be talking about some of that in a bit. Let's jump ahead to Rick. Rick, last couple weeks, how's it been?
Hi guys. Mark and I are in our communication mode for nightly email and morning conversation. I was a bit of a bad toad last week. I had conflicts at our morning conversation time, so I missed a few calls, but and also slipped off the LinkedIn train a little bit. But getting back on the horse and keeping the process moving. Had good conversations with my golf course partners, none of whom are really panicking about the lousy weather we've had and the lost revenue, which I guess is good. I was going to use that as leverage and appeal for partnering with me for back nine, but none of them took the bait because none of them were panicking. So some interesting insights into being a Minnesota golf course GM. I guess
Yeah.
they didn't expect the season to start much before late April, and it didn't. So they weren't too worked up about it. And now that we have some nice days, they have more sellouts than they normally do this time of year. So
Good.
but they're all still favorable and enthusiastic about working with back nine. One golf course partner in particular has agreed to start trickling out some regular business golf promotional messages to his 30,000 customers or however many he's got on his list, and interested in getting them to self-identify as business golfers, that sort of thing.
Great.
And he'd like to use, and I'd like to offer the double sales triple your golf workshop as something he can share with his business golfer customers, and I'll put it on, but he'll fill it, hold it at his space, and just see who comes forward. I offered it to him as something of value for the business golfers on his customer list, and
Love it.
he liked the idea.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Yep. And you'll see that we're suggesting that to be a big part of the lead gen strategy for chapters. So totally support you on that.
Okay, great. So anyway, got a couple people at stage 2, and one for sure is confirmed for Friday's stage 2 call. He'll be coming in likely as host facilitator, but I think when we talked about this, we keep them in the same pipeline, through stage 2. And then if they know host facilitator is the direction they're going, then they would do some version of a discovery day experience with me rather than signing up for one of Mark's.
Yeah, and it's really up to stage 3, because until then they don't know the models, they don't know the choices.
Right.
Once they know the models and choices and options and have discussions around it and submit their, here's what I'd like to do, here's which role I'm interested in, and here's why, then
Okay.
you'll know at that point what's a good fit for them.
Yep.
Cool.
So just re-energizing my efforts on LinkedIn, getting people, into the hopper, and admittedly things slowed down the last couple of weeks. On a personal note, I've been a little stressed out about my personal financial situation. On a positive note, I celebrated the 1-year anniversary of going independent and my path down entrepreneurship, inspired by my attendance at the Quantum Business Golf Seminar in Portland.
Okay.
And but also enjoying zero income with that. So
congrats.
Yeah, and
so I guess doubling it's not a good goal. We have to be more specific.
No, we got to do better than double zero. But it's just so close. If I could see into my crystal ball for what the next 30 days looked like, I'd maybe not be in such a panic. I've got bids out. I might have $60,000 of contracts signed in the next 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know.
Right on.
But that's the hard part about starting out, is not being able to see the future. And so that's been distracting me. I admit that, but trying to keep the focus.
Well, I'm an amateur on manifestation, but the one thing that the people that are experts on tell me is how important it is to focus your mind, time, and space on the possibility um, of that happening. You know, give it the possibility, give it the space, give it the as much belief as you possibly can put into it, and I think good things will happen from that, regardless of, you know, it'll create a ripple effect for you.
Well, and I think I've been doing that because my B&I colleagues, when I confide in them privately, you know, that I'm kind of struggling, they say, "Wow, that's not what it sounds like when you're given your weekly commercial. We thought you were rolling in customers and stuff like that." And I said, "Well, you know, I want to present a positive face and that sort of thing. I'm not lying about anything I say in my B&I commercial, but I think I am focusing on the possibility and what's positive. And
And
like
are
I say,
your lead gen systems in place? Because remember, the protege calls are also for you and for anyone else listening. Are your lead gen systems in place so you're developing a good stream of prospects?
yeah, I think, you know, using the LinkedIn strategy for identifying targeted groups, filtering to Minneapolis, St. Paul. I mean, I'm finding lots of people to send invites to that, you know, identify as entrepreneurial types and golfers.
No, I
So,
mean,
you know,
sorry, for your consulting side. On your consulting
oh,
side, is your
oh,
lead generation strategies, are they in place? Are they working for you?
yes.
Okay,
So I try to borrow, you know, some of my LinkedIn activity is lead generation for the consulting as well.
totally.
And then I have other avenues like small business associations that get me in front of key customers and that sort of thing. So yes, I do have some lead generation for my consulting as well.
Cool. Well, don't forget the Wednesday calls are for you guys as well.
Yeah, and
So
they conflict with my BNI group, but I'm planning to drop BNI at the end of this month. My year will be up there, and I'm going to take that time back so that I can participate fully in the protege calls and so on.
awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate the update.
Okay. Yep.
Virgil, Mr. DC, how are you, sir? You're next up. Alphabetically, we saved you for last. How's that? Ooh.
Been a busy 2 weeks. Talked with Mike a couple of times. We've solidified the execs. You know, same old. The charity is in place. We have a golf course in place. Now we're just working on our chapter launch
Right.
date. Talked with Mike this morning, and we're working on dates, looking at the availability of the courses, and hopefully I have that this week, and we can project out from that. I'll see if that coincides with you all schedules, and we'll just go from there.
We had a
But that's
tremendous
really it.
amount of
We're
DC
working
people.
on the launch.
Oh, sorry. We had a tremendous amount of DC people, EWGA people we ran into. Some very, very high profile ones, some member ones. One of the largest chapters in EWGA world is in Washington, D.C. So we may be able to do a strategic alliance. What was her name? The member marketing person of the year 2 years in a row, Alan? Do you remember? Jenny, was it? Or
Yeah,
Janine?
Jeannie.
Jeannie. A
Yep.
lady by the name of Jeannie, Virgil, we got to put you in touch with. The
Okay.
DC chapter of EWGA has over 500 members.
Mm-hmm.
One chapter. It's the largest, strongest, most active chapter in the world of EWGA. And we had a brief face-to-face with this lady called Jeannie, who just won for the second year in a row top membership salesperson, essentially.
Recruiter,
They
yeah.
call it something else. Pardon me?
Recruiter.
Recruiter, yeah, top recruiter. And she's going to work with us on the EWGA Daily Deal project of the 3-month trial memberships that we're going to build in, getting her ideas to the table, because obviously she's got a pretty good system of inspiring people to check it out and inspiring people to stay involved to get that many, you know, typical chapters, 80 to 100 members, and they have over 500, just to put that in context for the rest of you. So very excited on that. Let's talk offline about that.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
Cool. Good stuff. Good to see the shadow of your face.
It looks like, yeah, I was just going to say, it looks like Virgil is the secret informer that's trying to be
It's
hidden
Watergate.
there. You know,
Yeah, he's Watergate. He's the
yeah,
guy that
exactly.
broke the IRS tax
He's being
scandal.
interviewed, but we don't. Right, we can't actually see who he is. Posing as Virgil today.
That's right. That's right. He's in disguise with glasses and not a wig. I can see that from the shadow, but that's it.
Yeah, no wig.
No wig. Good stuff. Thank you, sir. All right, so let's jump on to the next item for agenda, and that is updates for you guys from us. Start with the actual seminar itself in Denver. Alan, do you want to start, and I'll jump in?
The seminar in Denver was
so long ago. The Quantum Business Golf Seminar
yeah.
in Denver.
It was awesome. We had a smaller than expected turnout. We ended up with 11 people consistent throughout the 3.5 days, but they played full on, and we got some amazing things out of it that we'll share with you in a few minutes. But really, really good. Mark was there. Mark Stevens, and he actually didn't comment on that in his update, which surprised me. Come on, Mark. You got to share with the group what you thought of the 3.5 days in Denver too. That's an important part. So when I'm done here, turn on your camera and let the guys know what you thought of that. But really, really good event, and definitely worthwhile. We keep surprising ourselves every time we do this. It isn't about the numbers that attend, it's about the quality of the people that attend, and those that are meant to be there are always there. And as a result of that, you're going to hear shortly, we've got some really cool outcomes and results expected. So there we are, all of our smiling faces. And yeah, really, really good group. So we had a blast. So Mark, why don't you share with the group your insights on the 3.5 days?
Well, see, I still got my aim sheets out.
That's the way.
Working with those. This is the most powerful tool, I think, that came out of the seminar. I was so overwhelmed with the intensity of the data and the quality of the presentation that I told Tom at one point, man, my brain hurts. You know, I need to go home and get a chance to digest all of this kind of stuff. The thing that was really awesome was the opportunity to sit in a room for 3.5 days with a bunch of high-speed people who were really in tune, you know, really into it, really serious about learning some things, and really serious about applying what they learned once the seminar was over. So every one of them is now a friend to contact. As a matter of fact, I've had conversations with almost everybody that attended the workshop since the workshop ended. In fact, I'll tell you what, guys, I was so pumped up when I came home Saturday night. The only thing I had to stop for was gasoline, and I remember the trip all the way home. You know, the last time I drove from Denver back to Topeka, I don't remember the drive. This time I remembered it clearly, and it's good. Everybody should attend it. It's a powerful, powerful tool that we have, and I think it gives us a huge advantage. Not to mention the fact that the two presenters weren't too bad themselves.
Yes, and we're excited that you were there. See you live, playing with you live. It was great, absolutely great to spend some time, and we had you know, small group but enthusiastic group. We now have 7 offering units spoken for, one form or another, either please hold me while I work on it, or yes, I'm in, out of that one workshop, including Mark's involvement. So we were very excited that so many people were inspired by the potential impact on their business that they stepped up to say yes, they want to be involved. And so now my job this week will be to follow up with all those guys and see where they're at. And Alan, much to my surprise, has made a special offer to Mark on his commitments of units. That if he gets his 2 units that he's committing, him and himself and another guy, by what, end of May, is it, Mark? Yeah, end of May, that we'll do a quantum seminar in Kansas. And Alan was busy recruiting people to come to your seminar at the EWJ event.
I'm all for it. Hey, I want
Where'd
to
you,
say
Alan?
one thing. I want to say one thing before I turn my camera off on this go around here.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I guess pleased me the most when I arrived is that you and Alan are absolutely genuine to the core. Uh, People have an online persona, and a lot of times you run into them live and in person, and they're nothing like they are online.
Hmm.
And you guys, that just delighted me. You were exactly the way you are, both in person and online, and that was impressive to me.
Very cool. And we were completely disappointed that we approved you as regional when we saw you live. It was such a shock to us. Totally the opposite experience, actually. Totally the opposite experience. But we're stuck. We've signed a mythical contract and we're stuck. So just kidding. Just kidding. We love it. It was so neat. It was so neat. It was a great example of the fact that you can understand someone's core values without seeing them live in face to face, even though, of course, that's always preferred. It was a great example for us, Mark, and we're really glad you were there. And we had 3 seasons in 4 days. It was very nice. Thank you, Jeffrey, for arranging snow and rain and sunshine and summer all in 4 days. It was crazy. And what else? I think that's pretty much it out of that. Oh, one other thing came out of that, and that is we realized that we think it would be a nice cap to the event to end with a round of business golf. We did this once or twice early on, and it became a logistical nightmare, and so we stopped doing it. But we thought it would be worth doing, and so Mark, our thought, just love to get your impressions on this, is that we actually make it 4 full days. We adjust the schedule and end with business golf on the final day, and actually maybe a recap in the morning and then business golf after that or something like that. But actually go 4 full days instead of the evenings on Wednesday and end with business golf. What's your impression about that in terms of the value proposition for the attendees?
If you remember, I said, man, it really would be nice to do a round of business golf after we got done with all of this. I absolutely agree. It would really, I think it would solidify some of the relationships that are started at the seminar. And it would give the attendees an opportunity to see the power. They've already seen the mastermind portion of it during the seminar,
Right.
but they haven't seen the business golf side of it. So I think it would be really powerful to do a round of business golf afterwards as part of the seminar, because then they can see both sides of Back Nine Board of Advisors as well as being able to participate in the seminar.
That's the other part. We thought it'd be a real natural transition for Back Nine, and it could be an optional thing that people just pay the cost, right? They just pick up their own cost.
Yeah.
Right. So it's simple and easy. Love the rest of your people's opinions on that. We're thinking about making that shift permanently to the model for Kansas and or Nashville and or Singapore on that side when you guys have a moment. Now let's jump over to EWGA. EWGA. The event was crazy. Really neat to see. It was their 15th or 16th year. Alan, do you remember?
It's their 22nd year.
Of having a conference?
No, of being an organization. The conference
Yeah,
years.
no,
I'm
no,
not sure.
conference
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Conference,
not
conference.
sure.
It was their 15th or 16th year of having a conference.
Yeah.
And there were some people there that had been to all of them. There were people there that had been to all but one. That was kind of cool. They had about 300 people attending. Took over the Westin on Hilton Head. We got in early and we had the Discovery Day and the prep and a bunch of stuff. So it was a pretty full week. We also managed to get some golf in back to back, actually, which was awesome. First time in a long time. It was hotter in Vancouver while we were in Hilton Head, the kind of unusual weather change. It was in the 80s and on Bowen Island, but the weather was still great, spring weather for down there, but the locals were complaining about how cold it was. We loved it, thought it was awesome. And then the event itself. We did our breakout talk. We met many of the board members. We met many of the foundation board members. We were on their VIP list, so we got a chance to meet Rosie. What's her last name? Rosie.
Rosie Jones.
Rosie Jones, LPGA superstar, that I had not known about. I gotta admit. Yeah, I don't know how, because she's been around so long and won so much, but she was there at a little VIP reception, and then she was feted out that evening as a guest of honor. interesting format. A lot of things we learned from. A lot of things we're going to incorporate for next year's event with them. And then we had about 80, 90 people in our direct breakout. And out of that, we had all of them request information on our follow-on sale, which was giving away one of our webinars, the How to Profit from Golf Tournaments, which we'll be sending out to them today and tomorrow. And then in addition, we kind of trialed the concept to see if any of them would be interested in getting involved in the Business Golf Certified program that we're going to be doing with EWGA. And out of the 60 or 70 cards that we had filled out, we had 16 say yes, they were interested. So we're going to be following up with those as well. So that was kind of cool. Had pictures taken with Pam. You'll see that in the newsletter. Got some good photos, clips, and they did record the event. EWJ recorded the event, and apparently we're going to get access to the video, which means we can turn that into a nice product. It was a 40-minute business golf personality section. For those that have been to the Quantum seminar, it was the golfer head covers and the Andrew Jenny exercise is what we focused on personalities, and well received. And they certainly appreciated us and our time and our input. We were definitely unique in the fact that out of the 300 or so attendees, I think there were 6 or 7 men that weren't related to the executive of the EWGA. One of which was a photographer they had for the whole event, and they were offering headshots, high-end headshots, for $10, digital headshots. And so we finally got a good headshot of Alan and I together, and I shrunk. Alan is actually taller than me, so that was kind of cool for Alan. So we've got that. We've also got individual headshots of Alan and I. It's kind of a great idea at a conference to have the facilities to do that. $10, they put it onto a CD. I don't know how they made any money at that price point, but and amazingly, a lot of people weren't taking advantage of it at that price point, which blew my mind, but that's part of it. And on the business side, part of our goal was to develop a relationship with someone called Ashley, who's their head of essentially corporate sales for EWGA, relative to the factory outlet, EWGAfactoryoutlet.com site, and had huge progress on that front. Ashley's all in, going to be heavily involved, and one of the partners that they're bringing to the table was interested in sponsoring EWGA but didn't have any sponsorship budget, but has offered access to their newsletter to promote women in fitness and golf related topics. And so we're helping them put together a proposal to take advantage of that to drive traffic to the factory outlet. They have 30 million subscribers. 30 million subscribers, this one company, and they want to help the EWGA promote their message. There's another company that she apologized, they only had about 400,000 subscribers. That was Golf Tech, that they're going to be involved and would happily promote the message to their list. So we got some really, really cool things that are going to accelerate on that side. Mike Mucci has offered to work with each of you on this call to see how you personally can profit from the launch of the EWGA Factory Outlet. So either something you're going to sell or something you're going to bring to the table to sell and earn a 10% referral fee. We want to put several $1,000s profit in your pocket over the launch, and our goal is to have 100 crazy good, awesome deals for the launch. So look for more on that side. Alan, anything you want to add on the EWGA event?
We formed some incredible relationships while we were there, and a couple of strategic alliances that we may or may not get involved with depending on bandwidth and certain things. But the caliber of the attendees, the delegates, blew my mind. It was off the charts, and here's an example. One of the ladies, her name was Dana. She spent 20 years with the CIA doing profiling. Okay, but get this, profiling of their own agents to see which of them had the propensity to turn rogue. So talk about a fascinating lady to sit down and talk to. Oh my gosh, crazy stuff. So yeah, and we've got senior VPs and senior executives and CEOs from big companies that are part of the WGA, and it what going to that conference did for me personally was to opened my eyes to exactly what this organization is and what they do, and it's amazing. It's a phenomenal group, a phenomenally run group, and the people that are involved in it and engaged are, I mean, it's life changing for them, literally. We heard story after story, both just in conversation and sitting up or standing up at the front. In their talks and relating how it's impacted their lives so much to be part of that organization. So really, really cool. And I'm a huge, huge fan and supporter of the WGA, having attended that. And I don't plan to miss any more of those conferences going forward. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, in fact, we hope many of you can join us next year wherever they do the event, because we're going to definitely do a much more expanded involvement. And they have something called a marketplace on the final night, where literally it's about doing business on purpose as part of the agenda. And so we missed that this time in order to get back for some weekend activities. But we'll definitely be part of that next year. Just give you two specific people that I met, just to give you some context here. One at a luncheon, talking to a lady who's an EWJ member. She's now left her corporate role, is looking for her next thing, whatever that's going to be. And I said, "So what did you do before?" She said, "Well, I was senior counsel to PepsiCo." And I with some follow-up questions, she was the senior lawyer to Pepsi. She was the top. She was the actual head of their legal department for a little company called PepsiCo, which, if you don't know, is far more than a beverage company. They own Taco Bell and a whole bunch of other things. So they're a huge, huge international organization, and she was their top legal attorney. And another lady, just a fun person we met at the Wednesday dinner reception, Dina is her name. She's busy writing this blog about food and golf, and she's super into it and super excited and very vibrant, bubbly personality. And we start talking to her, and she says, "Yeah, well, I've got this other business, and it kind of runs itself. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm really focused on this." And when I hear that, usually it's someone that's a real sideline business and not really thought of as a real enterprise. Eventually, I asked her what it was, and turns out that she's in the property management business in Detroit and has 110 employees in her little sideline business. But she's super passionate about golf and food, and totally is interested. Tim, you'll love this, in doing more life segments for us around food and golf and combining the passions. And just a real high energy lady, and paid several $1,000s on a round of golf with Rosie, and has got the means and the drive and the passion to do that. So that was kind of cool. Oh, and Alan, you got to tell them about Lisa Longball.
Yeah, I was just going to say Lisa Longball. For those of you that don't know who that is, she's the long drive champion. I think she's 2 or 3 world titles now. Canadian girl from Calgary, hails from Calgary, Alberta, and really, really neat lady. And talk about full of energy. Oh my gosh, there she is. You can't even spell the word energy without seeing her name attached to it now. She is just crazy vibrant and just a hoot. She's a lot of fun, and definitely wants to do some stuff with us too. Loves the business golf concept and wants to incorporate that into some of the things that she's doing. So really, really neat lady, super fun, and we're excited to have met her. Her drives are 350 on average for her long drives. That's pretty darn good. So
Competition.
yeah, so
Yeah.
she's an awesome lady.
Alan,
Yeah.
I've got a connection in St. Louis who used to be number 2 in the world and knows Lisa really well.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Well, Lisa actually won one of the world competitions, but has never been number 1 in the world. She's been 7-time Canadian champ, and
Oh, I thought she had one. Sorry.
no, she won a tournament one time where she beat number 1 in the world. But the actual world championships, the best she's done is 5th.
Oh, okay.
So she's still working on that. She's also trying to money qualify for the LPGA Tour. I talked to someone that golfed with her at Harbour Town, a slightly challenging course, and she was 285, 315, up the fairway, up the fairway, up the fairway, up the fairway. So she's got game in addition to a long drive. Very fun, and I'm sure she'll be involved with Back Nine if we want to get her involved. So to that end, a bunch of stuff to talk about in terms of strategies going forward. And I'm going to pull up a priority list that we put together for discussion. As we see it right now, we've got 4 main priorities strategically. Lead generation membership activities, both lead generation and lead conversion, obviously filling chapters. Lead conversions chapter host. The lead generation strategies we have with LinkedIn are generating great results. We've got a chance to extend that with the factory outlets and the EWGA itself. Lead conversion process is working well, as you've heard, the latest update from Mark, but we think there's a big gap, and that is that once people log in to the site, there's just a ton of stuff to wade through, and we think we can up that. So we've got some ideas we want to talk to you about. And getting the regionals to focus. We asked Mike for an update today on each of you in our teammate headquarters meeting, each of the regionals, and on a scale of 1 to 5, where he thought you guys were at in terms of applying, driving traffic. And most of you didn't get a 5. And so part of what we've asked Mike to work with you on is, how do we get you to a 5 out of 5? How do we get you driving traffic on these free strategies so that we can put some cash in your jeans and help you monetize this? And then the offering itself, obviously, so we got cash in our till and can help support you at a faster pace, converting the leads that are interested now, and the factory outlet 100 deal launch. So before we get into the lead conversions and lead membership discussion, that's what we think are top priorities for the next 30, 60, 90 days. Basically, quarter 2 is what we're calling it. And love to get your thoughts and inputs on that. Then we're going to take a break and come back and talk about lead generation on the membership side and the chapter host ideas for the rest of the call. But before we get to that, anyone have any thoughts, suggestions, ideas on that side? Just turn on your camera and let's hear from you. I'm going to wait till I hear from you. Does that make sense? You concur? Are there other parties you'd like to see? Is anyone alive?
Tom can't see the complete right side of the document.
Complete right side of the document. So
yeah.
Let me shrink these things down and expand them up. And that should help a little bit. How's that, Mark? You get a CL4?
Yeah, now I can't see any of the sub.
Yeah, I shrunk them down so that we could fit them in, but because when I expand them, they're not going to fit in.
Oh, okay. Must be 12 o'clock. All of the tornado sirens just went off.
Oh,
clear blue skies, though, so no worries.
Love you, Mark. So does this work for you, Mark? Lead generation for the chapters, lead conversion chapter hosts, the offering, and factory outlet, getting the launches, which can drive traffic to our chapter hosts and the cash in everyone's jeans.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll do a reverse poll. Anyone object to this strategy of priorities? If you don't speak up, you don't get to express your objection then. Let's see if there's anyone turning on a camera or microphone. Okay. Then that's what it's going to be. You'll see who we've got assigned on the screen in terms of focusing on this. Lead generation, Tim. Lead conversion, Alan, for the membership side. We'll talk about that in detail in a moment. On the chapter host side, Mike and I will work on the lead conversion gaps that we want to add in there, and Mike will work on how to get each of the regionals to be a 5 out of 5 in applying. I'll work on the offering and converting the leads there, and Mike's going to work on helping each regional profit from the factory outlet launch, and Alan and I are going to work on getting it up and running and launched. So let's take a 10-minute break, resume a quarter after the hour, and we'll continue on the details of each of these, but in particular, membership lead generation. I sent a PDF out today and a mind map. We'll talk about that, and the lead conversion gap. when we get back here in 10 minutes. Cheers, guys.
Rocco. Rocco. Hey, buddy. Look. It's chow time, dude. It's chow time. You're going to eat lunch? Look. You going to eat? Or did you already eat? Oh, I bet you already ate. I bet you ate my food.
All right, we're going to get going in about 30 seconds, give or take. Thanks for the reminder, Todd, that PepsiCo sold off the restaurant division to Yum. I'd forgotten that. So PepsiCo now just has Frito-Lay, Quaker Foods, Gatorade, Pepsi, and Tropicana, including all the brands scrolling along. Doritos, Gatorade, Sun Chips, Tostitos, all the Pepsi stuff, all the Frito-Lay stuff. So, I mean, she probably put together the deal to sell it to Yum Brands too. A little merger and acquisition background. Oh, and the one of the speakers who's an EWJ member, Carla is her name, senior VP for IPO deals for Morgan Stanley. Put together multi-billion-dollar deals for Morgan Stanley as part of her job and profession the last 20 years. One of the top 50 most influential black businesswomen in America, apparently. She was one of the participants and speakers in the evening address. Very, very interesting. Okay, so thanks, Todd, for that update on PepsiCo. So now let's go to member lead generation, which I sent a copy out to you. We've divided and organized this into pre-launch, launch workshop, and ongoing or post-launch. And right now we're recommending 4 strategies for pre-launch, 6 strategies for the launch workshop, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 strategies for ongoing. And the goal is to get your input on this, and then Tim's going to focus on lead generation activities in these categories, and Alan's going to focus on lead conversion activities, and I'll help them both through that process, also encouraging you to help them along the way. So this discussion is to get clarity on the strategies for both Alan and Tim to run with, and see if there's anything that we should be tweaking or adding to this as we go forward. So Alan, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, Tim, you there?
I am.
Okay. So on the pre-launch side, direct executive recruitment. This Friday, we're going to tackle Jeffrey's suggestion of having the executives pay a premium or pay some sort of linkage to results and all the parts that go with that. So please make time to join us on that call because that'll be a good discussion. Right now, it's a condition of membership for the free membership to have recruit 2 members. But there's a possibility that the executives would have to pay until that number is met, or some variation on that. Clearly, with 4 executives and 2 members each, that would very quickly get 8 paid members if that became a condition for the free membership. But direct executive recruitment is going to be part of it regardless. The LinkedIn strategy, and creating and adapting and improving that, the Mike Mucci strategy. Hosting local double your sales, triple your golf events. Could be a self-funding event that could actually make money by charging admission. Could be sponsored. And to give you an idea, that could be 9 holes, $100 a hole would mean 25 paid spots, something like that. Depending on the market and what they're charging, you could actually get 25 scholarships if someone was simply sponsoring $100 a hole and 9 holes, let alone 18 holes, partnering with local EWJ or chamber or both, and doing the local W Your Sales Trip Your Golf event. So it would be AM content, then lunch, then afternoon golf. And then a new strategy, an active lead generation strategy, which is really hearkening to an old strategy. But Alan and I recently saw an entire lead conversion process for something called local search engine marketing. And they were able to generate $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month from their clients using this process. And so our intention is to model it heavily, have Alan take a look at the details, parts, and pieces, back ninify it, if you will, over the next few weeks, and then create a direct mail campaign where you target your primary business owners you want, They'll opt in for a special report. We then call them to set up time to deliver that special report. We physically drop off the special report if we can to build a relationship, and then there's a follow-up script and questionnaire and a live meeting to enroll people into Back9 membership. This particular system, for every 100 letters sent out, generates 2 clients paying $1,500 a month. For every 100 letters being sent out, generates 2 clients paying $1,500 a month for a value proposition that we have much stronger value. So in other words, we think we could easily maintain those numbers, getting 8 to 10 opt-ins out of the 100, and out of the 8 to 10 opt-ins, getting 2 clients. And then it becomes a scalable, measurable model. New system in Back9's world, existing system somewhere else. We're just adapting it and modifying it for this use. So before we go past pre-launch, any questions from anyone, including Tim and Alan here? Tim, makes sense?
Yeah, that all makes sense. I guess my only question is, do we want to prioritize or rank these so we know where to put our focus first?
I think that should be the first exercise you do post-call. Absolutely. Because some of these are in place but need tools, right? And so if they're a high priority item, you can look at it and say, gosh, we need to add more tools here. And if they're a low priority item, then it can be, later on we'll add the tools. Just get it functional and later on add the tools. But yeah, I think that totally makes sense to prioritize them. And if you want to do that offline, I'm happy to help give you some ideas too.
Great.
Alan, any thoughts there?
No, it looks it makes sense. It looks straightforward. I don't think there's any. I mean, once we get into it and start doing it, I'm sure things will come up. But at a glance, it looks like it's in order.
Okay, rest of the guys then, any other pre-launch, so this is before the workshop, before the chapter starts, any other pre-launch strategies you think we should be focusing on that aren't on this list, or any input on these 4? In order for me to have the mind map on the screen, you're going to have to let me know when you turn your camera on, because I can't tell from this approach. And your mic. Looks like Mark's mic is muted. Oh, someone must have muted you on this side, Mark. Hang on. There we go. Try that.
Thank you. Okay, where was I? Short attention span and all. Oh, how about media?
We have media relations for the launch workshop, but not in the pre-launch phase.
Okay. All right.
And I think strategically, I think that makes sense, because just media random before the chapter forms is pretty tough to give them a controversial angle that makes sense.
Okay.
But I do think it works for the launch workshop. We can make it work, and I do think ongoing we can make it work for sure, especially if we do the strategic philanthropy stuff.
Sneaking little things in, not necessarily at random either, but having a plan, like Alan's articles on business golf in local publications and those kinds of things. But again, that may be, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
So that Rick tried it up in Minneapolis, and I don't know how well that's actually worked and how much influence it's actually had.
Yeah, that would be different than media. That would be an article. What do you call that when you write a whole bunch of articles to get SEO optimization? So that would be, well, it's SEO. You know what it is? It's local internet marketing articles and blogs on business golf with links to ... something like that. That's what that would be, Mark.
Okay.
And that actually makes a ton of sense, because it's easy and scalable and it doesn't take a lot of time. and is something that is best done as a drip, like bit by bit by bit. So yeah, I think that's a really smart thing to add pre-launch. And in fact, by extension, then it would continue post. So let's add it on over here under post-launch, because that's something you'd want to continually do, right? Like it. And that gets into a whole strategy of sub websites, building the domain and the flow below it that we need to look at doing from a strategic perspective with that. So that's a good addition. Thanks, man. Anything else? Okay. Anyone else on the pre-launch? Okay. Let's move to
This
the
is
launch.
Rick, Tom.
Oh, hey, Rick.
Would, again, golf course partner or charity partner be part of any pre-launch lead generation, or is it better to bring them in later in the game?
Oh no, they to me they would be involved wherever they're interested and makes sense. You know, for example, hosting a double sales trip your golf event, they can totally profit from that experience, right? I mean, they could get 100% of the gate, they could be 50-50 partners with you, or they could donate the space, or they could sell sponsorship. You know, there's a whole bunch of potential models for the double sales trip your golf event, but it certainly could be revenue generating on the front end. And the more they convert people to business golf, the more they can make on the back end. Todd, what do you think the golf courses are going to be most receptive to on the double sales trip your golf concept? Profiting as a partner, just renting the space, donating the space to build revenue down the road. You think of your National Golf Course Owners Association golf courses, the guys that are wanting to grow and build.
I think you're going to find different things across different owners. I think most of them are going to be more comfortable just renting the space because that's their mindset. But you will find some leaders out there that see the potential of, partnering and getting more involved.
Okay. So one model, rent the space, sell the tee times. Another model, partner 50-50. Another model, donate the space to grow their revenues. Right? Basically,
Yep.
there's 3 different models there. Like it.
Well, and what could you have a model where it's donate the space to grow revenues for the charity where you get both involved?
Absolutely. Charity gets money, or free to all to attend. Absolutely. Either one. And in fact, the charity, then you get the media involved, Mark, on your side, right? If the charity got the money, suddenly press releases make sense, right? So if you want to do that, we're 100% of the revenue. Remember, we originally started our big Wounded Warriors thing with 100% of the money going to them. If we go back to that model, then that would be press release worthy, right? Good. Anyone else on the pre-launch phase?
Tom, I think the direct executive recruitment might include charity as well. It's not something we've talked about yet, but like what if the charity coming on board, instead of just sitting on their hands and doing nothing waiting for money, there's an expectation of bringing 2 members into the group.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we can help them figure out how to do it, but I mean, it could be a direct recruitment, or marketing from them or whatever.
Yep. Well, and the business development person at the charity, which is who you want as a member, right? Whoever's in charge of business development, whether they have a dedicated person or it's the executive director, that person has a vested interest in this chapter being thriving because they'll make more money. They'll get more help, right? I mean, just think about man hours, right? You got 6 people involved, 2 hours a month is 12 hours of labor. You get 30 people involved, 2 hours a month is 60 hours of labor, right? It's 5 times the labor to help them grow their organization potential. So yeah, that
Above and
totally
beyond the
makes sense.
revenue.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and we had some very interesting things about this, but this came up in our seminar, our quantum seminar, the 2 hours that someone would donate if they were in the Denver group. They're talking about doing it as helping them. Shannon was talking about this, helping the charity learn to mastermind on their own, the charities board. Can you imagine how valuable that would be to the charities board to teach them how to mastermind new ideas and execution, the two parts, on an ongoing basis? That 2 hours a month would be worth, tens of thousands of dollars over a year in that sense. So yeah, that could definitely be part of it. And in fact, pre-launch training of the charity board on how to mastermind new ideas and how to mastermind execution of existing ideas, right? Could be part of that. Love it. Thanks, Tim. Any other thoughts under pre-launch from anyone? I don't see any hands. I don't see any videos on. Okay, launch workshop. So Dream 100, the key influencers and stacking primary professions. Press release article campaign, LinkedIn connecting with the choice of three gifts, and then the direct lead generation, 3 email gifts to campaign, the direct email invitations, there they are, and then direct phone calls. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strategies for the launch workshop planned, but most of the workshops we've done so far have just done direct email invitations. Some have done direct phone calls, and now Todd's working on the gift side for the first time. By the way, Todd, you didn't get a chance to share the data that I heard from Alan when you shared it with Chase, your GM, because you said there was some pushback on the email campaign. I wonder if you could go over the data of how many pushbacks we had and how many opt-ins we had, because I think it'll help the rest of the guys understand the context of email marketing and its normal process.
Well, I didn't get accurate numbers from him because he didn't track it accurately, but the round numbers he gave me were about 50 people had something to say that was deemed not positive.
Out
But
of
out of the database is around 18,000 people.
Okay.
Okay, so and I don't think all of that was negative, and I think some of that feedback was due to confusion on their part. So my guess is it's actually quite a bit lower than that that would have had a direct problem with those being sent.
Right, but even
And
still, that's a quarter of 1%. So it's not,
correct.
it's not a huge amount. It's a quarter of 1%. But more importantly, what was the opt-in rate?
Well, I did make an error in tracking to know how many came directly from that because I used my link instead of having them use their own their own separate trackable link. But around 400 I attribute to coming from the golf course that signed up for the free gifts.
So 400 out of 18,000, which is 2.2%, right? 2.2, well, almost 2.25%. So that's 9 times as many opted in as complained. That's a pretty good ratio, because regardless, what wasn't asked of that question is how many people unsubscribe, how many people complain when the golf course sends an email to begin with, right? And how many people don't even open it. So I thought that was awesome to see. But you're the first one who's really going after the golf course, and obviously not the charity because you're just getting them on board, but the golf course promoting the workshop. Sorry, the 3 gifts, right? And so now, as you start to promote the direct email invitations to that same group, it'll be interesting to see what sort of conversion rate we have. Do you know the split of which of the gifts the 400 people took?
I don't.
So maybe Tim and you can track that down for us. and find out what the split is in terms of what they opted in, how many went for golf improvement, how many went for business golf, and how many went for improving their business. Be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Okay, so there's the 6 strategies for launch workshop. Any?
Just one comment, Tom.
Yeah, Mark.
Our golf course sends out a weekly email. So everybody and I'm sure maybe Todd does this too, but I really like your suggestion about sending out an email that says, hey, we formed a partnership with such and such, or with Back Nine Board of Advisors, or however you want to word it, and expect some great things in the future, or to be coming soon type of thing.
Yeah. Starting with partnership announcement, good point. And that actually should include the charity too, Alan. We should do an equivalent one for the charity. Right? So they understand the context. That makes sense, Alan?
Yep, no question. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay. Good. Thanks, Mark. Anyone else? I don't see any other comments or cameras turning on. So let's move to the next piece, which is ongoing post-launch. All right. So referral program for existing
Hang on,
members.
Tom. I want to comment.
Thanks, Todd.
Tom, can I comment on that? I'm sorry, I had trouble unmuting. On the 3 gifts, one thing that I thought might be missing is sort of the connection between, and part of it was the announcement, I guess, that we're now putting into play that, hey, there's this partnership going on. But then is there any connection between the 3 gifts emails and then doing the promo to help people connect the dots of like if the golf course just sends it out and the way it was written is as if it's a gift coming from the golf course, and then later they're doing a promo about having this event for Back Nine Board of Advisors. Well, it's not called that, but having a business golf event, or actually it's just a business event. But there's no connection between the two that I could see. And should there be any connection there, or if you can help me understand the strategy a little bit better, that would help me.
Yeah, the strategy is they're separate. They're separate. It's frequency and repetition, right? So I mean, I know that people don't think this is the case with their list, but 8 to 10, 12% of the list ever read emails. Actually, sorry, ever get them. Now it used to be 30%, right, and now it's down to 8 to 10%. Mike sat in on an email marketing program workshop at my request recently. Mike, what was the up-to-date data in terms of emails that get received and get opened?
Well, for just recently, 8 to 10%, maybe 1 and 1.5% get opened.
So
8 to 10% received, 1 to 1.5% get opened.
8 to 10% get received, 1.5% get opened.
Yes.
And then you've got your normal, if you've got a great email, 10, 20% would respond to the message. So you're talking using that data, right? Let's take 10% and 1%. So 1% get opened, and then 10% conversion will be a good response to an email campaign. So that's 1/10 of 1%. So with 400 opting in on your list, 18,000, 1,800, 180 is 1%. That's 2.25%. 2.25% opted in of the gross list, where 1% is the norm. So part of the challenge when we're looking at comparative results is we got to look and see what are the industry norms and how are we competing against, because that's more than double the industry norm right now. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And remember, the free gift strategy is giving away free gifts. It's about rewarding your audience. And so I like the idea about the announcement of the sponsorship thing. We should have had that earlier for sure, because the idea is, hey, and we're taking our game to a higher level. We want to give you things that make your life better. We're not just going to ask for money. We're also going to give. Right? And in fact, Alan, you may want to look at the wording to make sure that the golf course gets credit for coming up with ideas on how to give more free things to their members.
Right.
In that announcement. Because that's the connection, Todd, right? we're now up in our game. It's a competitive environment. We want to give you more value. Here's some free gifts. Oh, 2 weeks
So with
later,
that
by the
with
way,
that
here's a free
theory,
workshop now.
right? Okay, with that theory, then that would be the connection. Is okay, yeah. Here we are. We partner with this group, and one of the things that they do is give free content, and we love that, and we want to give you this free content in conjunction with that. Later on, hey, we want to give you this free seminar again in conjunction with our partnership. Here it is, free stuff for
Totally.
you again. Now
Totally.
that makes sense to me. So we just need to. I don't think that was tied together very well before. Or at least I didn't see that connection.
No, and that's part of the. Also, keep in mind, this is the first time a golf course had a problem with free gifts. So we didn't realize that we needed to tie it in as much. But out of that problem, we can learn from it and go, oh, great.
Yeah,
There's an opportunity to go take it to a higher level.
yeah.
And
Because
by
I
the
mean,
way,
what we have to remember is that at least at Bunker Hill, and I'm going to guess at many golf courses, uh, their email strategy is send out coupons. Send
yes.
out discounts.
Yeah. Well,
And when
and
people don't get a discount from the golf course, they're like, what the heck is this?
yeah,
Where's my coupon
exactly.
or discount? So we have to prepare them for getting something a little different.
Well, and I think if we talk to Tim, Frank, and Jeff about this, oh, I see Jeff's joined us. Hello, Mr. Reeves, welcome. I bet you we'd find that part of the reason their golf courses did not participate aggressively in promoting the workshop is they didn't understand the value of giving free gifts to their list. That would be my guess, because had they understood that, they would have been crazy not to participate. Right? We're doing all the work, and they're getting free gifts. I mean, EWJ has been a good example of that. Once they realized where we're coming from and what our philosophy was, they've been giving away our stuff like crazy here and there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and Todd knows this especially because you've been focusing on this. It's a value added, not a price focused gift. Right? So it's grooming their list to be less price sensitive and more value driven, which helps the golf course in the long term.
Totally. I mean, the people that don't get it or don't want it or are offended by it really are the people you probably want off your list anyway.
Sure.
If you're moving in that direction.
If someone's offended by being offered a free gift, think how miserable their life is.
I know.
Right? You're offended by a free gift. That's why I'm sure Chase won't give Alan the follow-up information to talk to those people, because he'll think about it and go, yeah, well, no good can come from that. So my guess, even though Alan's asked for it, is that Alan's not going to get that follow-up information.
No,
right? Because
I don't think so.
yeah, we talked to them, and I'm sure someone will say, "Oh, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the email. That's why I complained."
Right.
So cool. All right. Anyone else under launch workshop? All right. So there's our 6 for now, and then under ongoing post-launch referral programs for existing members. We talked a lot about that on previous calls and brainstormings. The community partners program, simple, focused, designed to drive trials, and
Tom,
do that. Yeah.
Can we chat again on a different launch topic that came up recently?
Launch topic. Back to the launch? Sure.
Yeah, back to the launch. On my emails that I've been sending out, promotional emails, I got a response from a guy that is a friend, and he was tentative to even say anything, but apparently he had been hearing, with guys that he knows, he had been hearing some negative comments about the emails that were being sent, and I just wanted to talk about how this occurred and if it's something I should just totally ignore or if it may make sense to really look at the issue and adjust our strategy.
Yeah,
so
go ahead. Go ahead. I saw your email about that, so fill the guys in.
So what's going on is obviously I'm sending out the promo emails. One problem I have here, and maybe there's a way around this easily, but I don't know how to do it. I'm sending it to a carved out list of my own personal database, okay, and also to my LinkedIn list, which has quite a bit of crossover. And I'm not sure how to easily separate that. So some people might be receiving them from me through LinkedIn and then also separately through MailChimp. And that's not good.
Okay, so no. That's actually fantastic. But I'll come back to that in a sec.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
frequency and repetition. 8% are getting them, 1% are reading them, Todd.
All right. Well,
Remember, 8% are
according to the
getting, 1%
complaint
are
that I
reading.
got
Oh yeah.
is that basically the feeling was that it's not personalized, and people like to feel special. That some, if there's an invitation to do something, that they're special, and they got that invite. That's not a campaign. That's not a blast out to everyone. That they got something that's actually personalized to them, and when they're receiving the same quote unquote form letter from me twice and Bernie once or twice because he knows a lot of the same people I do, they're turned off by it.
Right.
So does that explain it well enough?
Well, it does for me because I read the email, but for everyone else's benefit, someone on Todd's list was turned off by being offered from multiple people the same deal. That's the short of it, right, Todd?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So
Well,
first off,
in the sense that it was like a form letter that was being sent out by me and other people, and
well,
they may have even received mine multiple times.
yeah, that's your interpretation. That the form letter part of it, I didn't see that from the summary in his email. I could see how you could interpret that.
Well, I spoke to him verbally afterwards, and that's what he told me.
Okay. So the fact he wasn't personalized and he wasn't personally being invited and he wasn't given a $100 limo to show up and all this other stuff. Then is that what you're saying? I'm being a little facetious, but
I know. Well, and he wasn't saying that he was offended by that. He was telling me that other people had been commenting to him.
right. No, I understand that, and
yeah.
But still, I mean, that's even worse because it's third hand. You can't do anything about other people. Obviously, you can do something about him. But I can tell you this: he passed it on because he believes there's validity to it.
Right.
It's not just other people. Right. It's not just other people. So I just realized we only got 15 minutes left in this call, Todd. So for everyone else's benefit, the issue for me, Todd, is credibility, value, and relevance. If it's relevant to them, they'll be honored by being offered multiple times. If it's not relevant to them or not perceived as relevant to them, they'll be insulted. Right? It's a free gift. It's a free gift to come into a workshop. And it's about, are you interested in more money, more time, and more focus? If not, no problem. But what, for someone to be insulted because they've been offered multiple times, my response, if I was talking to the guy, would be, well, then that's a sign from God. You should be there. Holy cow, if you're getting multiple invitations, clearly some people think of you enough that they know you benefit from this. That'd be my response. What do other people think? What do other people think about complaints over receiving too many requests to come to the workshop? Turn the camera on, let Todd know. Mike.
Tom, I can only tell you from my experience, having used a list on GetResponse for the last year and a half to promote, back 9. Yeah, I lose opt-ins on occasions, but I can tell you the fact that, people don't really understand the offer sometimes until they see it for 5 or 6 times. And I guess that's exactly what you're saying. But, why does McDonald's keep advertising? Yeah, I know they want new young customers, but why do they keep their name out there? I mean, so, to me, it's part of the process. It's necessary, and it's doing it the right way.
Thanks, Mike. Mark.
I don't think you're going to ever be able to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. There's going to always be somebody who's going to complain. If it's a large number, I'd be concerned about it. If it's a statistically insignificant number, I wouldn't worry all that much about it at all. If it was a friend of mine that was complaining, I'd tell him exactly what was going on. And beyond that, I think playing the numbers is the way to go. That's what works.
Thanks, Mark. Mr. Reeves, good morning.
Good morning, all. First, my apologies. Sat down with a cup of coffee about 10 minutes before the meeting and passed out. Which happens on occasion when I don't get much sleep at night. So I missed a good part of the deal, and I wish I had been here. Relative to specifically to what Todd was talking about, if you do a little wordsmithing when you know you've got people crossed on a list. That's usually enough to alleviate and possibly eliminate that problem. In other words, if he and somebody else have a list where they're sharing, they know they have some shared folks, slightly changing the message from one to the other can make a huge difference. At least that's been my experience.
Like it. Good advice. And I would just echo Mark Stevens' comments to a higher level, Todd. If you're not getting complaints, you're not doing enough work. And so I think complaints in this context are good if the focus is on ways to help them. Right? I mean, basically, you're offering a opportunity for them to get some quality training for free. And if they're insulted by that, then they're definitely not the target audience, because there's no way they're going to join Back Nine and pay for quality training from each other, right, in masterminding. So it's a screening process on that side. But I don't think you're going to please everyone, but I do think you definitely want to look at that. Any additional thoughts?
Well, my thought had to do with maybe reversing the process a little bit, because all that stuff happens, and then the next thing you do is phone call the people that you really think should be there. So those people, in my mind, are the people that, number one, you know quite well, and or you know enough about them to know that they should probably be there. You know, let's say, like, you know, they're not a shark.
Right.
So you might want them on your team, those sorts of things. I'm wondering if maybe that list should be made first, early on in the process, and either send those people a different message, or, you know, a lot of those people that are on that list for me already know what's going on with Back Nine, already have some input, and if I'm going to personally call them anyway, sending them a form letter, you know, those might be the people that are offended because I do know them personally and I didn't send them a personalized message.
So let's deal with this
people I
form
don't
letter
know,
concept, Todd, because I'm concerned about the languaging on that. When you send someone a message that's about improving their life, and their name is on the subject line, and their name is on the email address, what's form about it to you? Just because someone else sends the same email, what's form about it? Because you use that as sort of like it's an insult to someone, and I'm curious as to why you would feel.
that was the response that I got back, was that was the problem, that some people were disappointed by that they didn't get something personalized.
Right. But so what did they expect? That you send a different email to every one of the thousands of people in your database? I mean, if you were talking to them, would they genuinely expect a different email? That would be, then you'd have to charge $1,000 a person for your free workshop, because you'd have to have a full-time staff member recrafting emails. I mean, literally, not figuratively, but literally, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, what business was this person in? The one that was insulted, that reached out to you?
I don't know who was insulted. The person
the
reached
one that
out
reached
to me.
out to you.
He's in the he does websites, and he does social media marketing. So he's in the marketing business.
So then I would assume he would understand that you wouldn't have a different email.
But
I mean, wordsmith, Jeffrey's idea about
he ran
wordsmithing
into the
is,
same problem himself, doing the same things, getting similar feedback. So he didn't have a great solution, was just saying, here's some feedback I was getting.
all right. Well, welcome to the 21st century would be my response. I mean, we're running out of time on today's call for that. Let's maybe take this offline and we can talk more about it, because it sounds like it's an important thing to you. But my response is next and move on.
That's fine. I just wanted to bring it up and see if there was any time we run into things, if there's a way that means we should tweak things, then look at it. If there's not, no problem. I'm not hung up on it.
Yeah, I think the focus needs to be on reaching people and communicating the value proposition. And if they're insulted by the fact that we reach out to them, we can't help them, really. I mean, it's like the person who's insulted on getting free gifts. If they're insulted by being offered free gifts, what are their odds of them becoming a Back Nine member? In your opinion, Todd?
But I don't want them to be one.
Yeah. So thanks next.
And that's no problem for my, those people that do that. I just wanted to see if it made more sense to, do it another way. If there's a better way to do it, then we should look at that. And what I'm hearing you say is you don't think there is.
Oh, I'm not saying there's always better ways to optimize, but we're never going to get around, in my opinion, personalizing every unique campaign to every single person every single time with people who own multiple lists. We could tweak our own. Jeffrey's idea is fine, but you're not going to tweak someone else's list that you don't even have,
Correct.
right?
No, I think Jeffrey had a good idea.
But even that, you're going to get the same type of complaint because it's the same type of offer. So I think that's part of the business. I mean, there are people that have PVRs at home that are insulted by commercials, and that's why they buy a PVR and they skip the commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Does that make commercials evil or wrong? No, that just makes them less effective today. And so that attitude will definitely decrease the effectiveness, but it also screens and qualifies, right? You don't want that person coming to your workshop, taking up space, taking up a chair. At least that would be my thoughts on that. Alan, do you have a different perspective on that?
Um, I'm surprised, I guess, because one of the comments I heard was I think I read, Todd, in your email from him, was that it was perceived as spammy. Um, it's the way it's written and the way it's crafted is designed to drive value. So what that tells me is I don't think the people actually read it uh, at face value and just saw a logo and some sort of a call to action and probably thought there was money being a money grab involved and blah blah blah. So you yourself said even with the Bunker Hill ones that out of the 50, probably a bunch of them were just confused. So I'm guessing that would eliminate at least half of those. So there's 20 or 25 that genuinely don't care to get that kind of stuff and don't want value and don't want free gifts in their life. Well, you know, next is right. Absolutely move on. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, I don't think, worrying about those few that are miserable and have no life. And let's focus on the ones that do and want to get ahead in life, and let's help them. So that's my take on it.
All right, let's jump ahead. We only got a couple minutes left on the call, and I want to honor the time commitment because we have a full day of things to do in addition to meeting. We won't have time to go over the ongoing strategies. We'll do that next week's call. Referral program, community partners, Facebook strategic philanthropy, charity fundraiser, member guest 9 and wine, semi-annual business tournaments, LinkedIn connecting, active lead gen, Dream 100, and local internet marketing. So that's going to be our dirty dozen on that side. Just a reminder from a format perspective, let's pull this up here now. There we go. Tim is going to focus on lead generation, membership strategies, and Alan on lead conversion. So if you got input, there's the guys to reach out to. On the chapter host side, we didn't get a chance to talk about it today at all, but I think there's a gap once people opt in, and we could either create an ongoing education-based marketing funnel once they do, or create detailed informative videos for each of the 6 areas, which I think would be my preference, and we can use them either way, and possibly involve something like text messaging and follow-up devices. So Mike and I are going to work on that. Any of you that are interested in helping us out, reach out to us. And then Mike's also going to be working on how to get the regionals focused so that they're putting a 5 out of 5 in lead generation activities. When I asked Mike for an honest assessment this morning, most of the people didn't score a 5 out of 5. Kudos to Mark and Todd that scored high on that list, and John Ashton and Mark Hunter moving high up that list, and Frank moving up that list. But for the rest of you, obviously, there's unique circumstances for each of us. Mike's going to reach out and see how he can get all of you to a 5 out of 5. That's the goal, is to get every one of you to a 5 out of 5 and focus on that and help generate the traffic on that side. You heard the results from Mark on the Discovery Day already. That's a good sign. That means that this is going to convert to cash for him and for each of you that focus on that. So that's that part. I'll focus on the offering side to follow up on those 8 leads that we have there. 4 or 5 of those could lead to virtual assistants for Jeffrey. So he could have a very, very large portfolio of virtual assistants very soon. Kudos. And And the Factory Outlet 100 deal launch reminder, Alan and I will be working on it, but Mike will reach out to you on your calls to talk about how you can personally profit from putting together one of those 100 daily deals, or one or two of those 100 daily deals. So please reach out to Mike over the next week and make time for that. And that is all the time we have allocated.
Tom?
Any closing thoughts or comments? Mike?
Tom, yes. Founders call today. Darlene has a executive candidate she would like to book on that call today.
Fabulous. That's the first one we got. We will be there.
Okay.
Bells
Okay,
on.
I'll tell her.
Anyone else? Comments, questions? Okie dokie. Jeffrey, the call's been recorded, so when it gets posted up on YouTube, hidden link, we'll make sure you get the link. I think you're the only one that wasn't here for the first half of the call. Make sure that you've got it so you can listen in, and also we'll get it to Mark so that John Ashton can listen in when he gets a chance and gets updated on that. Thanks, guys. Busy week ahead. Lots on the plate. Looking forward to cranking these parts.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you all.
Thanks, guys.